Good afternoon, everybody. Today we are going to be learning about songs and instruments from the Pacific Islands, and we will look at that on a map in case you're not familiar with that part of the world. I actually learned a lot about this part of the world when I put this together. So let's get started by talking about the four types of instruments. Now, pretty much any kind of instrument in the world can be put into these four categories. And I just chose a picture of one instrument so you can get an idea. The four kinds of instruments are chordophones, which just means any instrument that is played with strings. So a ukulele, a guitar, a violin, this would be a chordophone. Idiophones are played by hitting, striking. So this is like a glockenspiel, a triangle, those would be idiophones. Membranophones are instruments like drums. They have a skin or a membrane stretched out and like over a hollow space, and we strike that to make the sound. And then aerophones use our wind or our air to produce a sound. So here are some pipes, or you could think about a recorder. Most of the instruments we play in band class. So band instruments, a lot of them would be aerophones. You have the percussion section. The drums would be membranophones. Some of them are idiophones. And then orchestra instruments are chordophones. So we're going to listen to some instruments today, and you're going to figure out what kind of instrument they are. So you will need a pencil and a piece of paper. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to grab those things, and we'll get going by finding the first country on the map, which is Samoa. So like I said, Samoa is one of the Pacific Islands, and here is Australia, and it's way off to this side. So that is Samoa. And the first piece of music we're going to listen to is called Pooh. And as you're listening to this song, I want you to think about what kind of instrument is being played. Is it an aerophone? You play it with your air. And a membranophone, it has a skin or membrane like a drum. A chordophone, meaning it has strings, or an idiophone, meaning you make the sound by striking it or hitting it. So I'm going to continue sharing my screen with you as I play this music. That way you can hear it better. And then I'll pull up the options again. So remember, you're telling me what kind of instrument is being played here. All right, so what type of instrument is being played? I'll give you a few moments to finish that up. So the process in my mind when I go through this is something easy to clear out. We can cross it off our list. Is it's not a chordophone. I don't hear any string-like sounds. Nothing's being bowed, nothing's being plucked or strummed. I don't hear anything being hit, so I don't think it's an idiophone or a membranophone. So that is actually an aerophone. And if you saw next to the title of the song, it is a conch shell, which we play with our air. So the conch shell is an aerophone, and we're going to listen to 3 other songs from other parts of the world. So the conch shell is used as an instrument in many parts of the world. So we're going to listen to music from Mexico, Nepal, and Peru. And I want you on the next line of your paper to write the answer to this question. Do these conch shells sound the same or different? So that's all you need to write, same or different. So here is the recording from Mexico. And here is the recording from Peru. And moving on to the recording from Nepal. Remember, you were answering, do these recordings sound the same or different? Oh, I'm not sure where my recording went. So we're just gonna answer the question between Mexico and Peru. Mexico and Peru, did those sound the same or different? And I would say that they sounded very similar, right? Because a conch shell is going to be made of the same material every time. But you could also say the music sounded different because they play different rhythms. They made the pitches go high and low. So you could answer either way depending on how you interpreted that question. So now we're going to listen to a song called Lali. And I want you to again answer the question, what type of instrument is being played? What type of instrument is being played? Is it an aerophone, membranophone, chordophone, or idiophone? So now we are going to listen to Lali. This is an aerophone, membranophone, idiophone, or chordophone. Not hearing any strings. I don't hear something that we would use our ear to play with. It sounded like something was being hit. So now we get to decide, were we just striking an object or did it have a skin or membrane like a drum? And the answer is, this instrument was a slit drum. So this was an idiophone. We just strike it. There's no skin or no membrane stretched across the head or the opening. So just an idiophone. And this slit drum can also be referred to as a slit gong. And it's made from a hollowed out tree trunk. So you can kind of see on the end here that this was once a tree and it's hollowed out in the middle. And Lali actually means it's a medium-sized pair of slit drums. So you can see there's two here and one of them actually has the higher sound. One is high and one is low. And this is from Samoa. So Samoa is another Pacific island. Well, that is the first one we talked about. And then this is Fiji. The next song we listen to will also feature the slit gong or the slit drums from Fiji. And again, you can see this is Australia. This is another Pacific island off to the east of Australia. And I want you to listen to the slit drums in this song from Fiji and think about the slit drums we just heard in Lali. Which drum do you think is bigger? Which drum do you think is bigger? And as a reminder, here is what Lali sounds like. And back to wooden slit gong. Which one is bigger? Give you a few moments to finish that up. And I would say that the drums in wooden slit gong are bigger because the sound is lower. So these bigger instruments, when you strike them, this idiophone, when you hit it to make a sound, it's going to give you a lower sound because the bigger the instrument, the lower the sound. It's the same when you compare a piccolo to a tuba, right? The tuba is lower, the piccolo is high pitched, same concept. Now, what do lolly and wooden slick-gong have in common? Let's listen to the beginning of those songs one more time. So we're going to listen to the beginning of Wooden Slick-Gong first. And here's the beginning of Lolly, and you're going to tell me what is the same between the beginnings of these songs. So the answer is that Lolly and Wooden Slick-Gong both started with a slow, steady beat, and they got faster. And in music, when we get faster, we call that an accelerando. It looks like the word accelerate. It's called accelerando. And that is what was the same between Lolly and Wooden Slick-Gong. And even though they both use the instrument slick-gongs or slick drums, even the instrument sounded different. And one reason is because we talked about the drums in Wooden Slick-Gong were bigger, so they sounded lower. But also every drum is going to sound a little bit different because they're made from hollowed out tree trunks. So every tree is going to be a little different. Therefore, every drum will be a little bit different. All right, I hope that you learned a little bit about the sounds and the instruments from the Pacific Islands, but also remember that these instruments, the aerophone, the membranophone, the idiophone, and the chordophone are used to describe instruments from all over the world. And so we can describe instruments right here where we live using these 4 categories.